police here now firing tear gas into the crowd, tear gas into the crowd, tear gas.
Violence.
There was looting underway nearby. Looting.
Protesters mowed down by bullets. Massacre.
A cyclist stabbing a delivery man in the back. Violent crime surge. At least 11 people killed, 55 wounded in 10 mass shootings.
Man facing charges for allegedly raping a woman on a busy SEPTA subway train.
There's renewed anger in the United States over police violence. Footage has emerged of a 75-year-old demonstrator protesting the death of George Floyd, being pushed to the ground by officers. Protest. Died at the hands of 4 police officers. Died.
They close in on the car, one with a gun visible, with a gun.
Other airlines are handling outbreaks of violence and unruly passenger behavior on board. Violence.
30-year-old Curtis Clayton became enraged after the passenger behind him placed something into the seat pocket. Outraged, he punched a flight attendant in the face twice when she accidentally bumped into him and then apologized.
7 people have been killed in this violence. The homes that belonged predominantly to Hindus were set on fire, and their businesses were also torched and vandalized.
Violence.
These streets are home to some of the most dangerous gangs in America. Last year, there were more murders here than in any other city in the United States. Just standing on the wrong street corner can be enough to get you killed. Was later shot with a real gun. There were 7 real shootings that night. In 2012, there were 506 murders in Chicago, significantly more than the next 2 cities, New York and Detroit. Since 2003, more Americans have died in Chicago than in Iraq.
It's not a video game. You don't get an extra life. Once you're dead, you're dead. Once you kill someone, they don't come back to life. And when you come back or when you wake up the next day, your friend, your brother, he's still dead.
We all of a sudden confronting violence in America after 20 white babies get killed. 506 children in Chicago get killed. It's another day, another month, another year in Chicago.
What should be a celebratory time coincides with a disturbing surge of racist attacks against Asian Americans.
This surveillance footage shows a 71-year-old Asian grandmother violently shoved to the ground, her purse stolen, a 91-year-old man pushed in Oakland's Chinatown, one of 3 attacks that day. 84-year-old Thai American Visha Ratanapakdi knocked over while out for a walk. He died a few days later from his injuries. His family saying they believe it was rooted in racism.
But the second pandemic that we have faced is also a virus. It's a virus of racism that we have faced.
Asian Americans Advancing Justice has cited at least 3,000 anti-Asian incidents since last February. In New York City, there was an 867% increase in Asian hate crime victims in 2020 compared to the year before.
This man's life is over from a fatal meeting and his family devastated.
This was a senseless act of violence.
Senseless. 4 shots to the chest. Why?
Waller, who's also a father, was gunned down in his driveway Sunday morning.
All we did was go shopping for the kids and come home.
A third man appears from behind a truck with a gun.
A 13-year-old arrested for allegedly attacking a student with autism.
There's no doubt that there's been more fighting and more violence on
Jacob Cantu was in a bathroom stall at one of Connecticut's largest high schools when someone tossed a trash can over, hitting him in the head. Vandalism and violence so bad, the superintendent closed the school.
Violent crime is way up and claiming victims. Already this year, at least 143 people have been murdered. Hundreds more have been shot.
Dozens of shots fired by 3 gunmen during a drive-by shooting in South L.A. 19-year-old Rayshawn Spite was murdered, one of the latest victims of the surge in killings and shootings that seems to have no end. This map shows the 143 murder scenes in L.A. since the first of the year. Chief Michael Moore told the police commission this week that more than 600 people have been shot since the first of the year, a rate of gun attacks that have outpaced last year by nearly 60%. There's also the question of guns.
Gun violence. 1 man is dead, 4 others are recovering.
A boxing match that organizers say was designed to stop gun violence
ended in gunfire.
The fight was already in conclusion, getting ready to make the announcement of who was the winner, and there came a bang, 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 bang.
When it was over, one person was dead and 4 others injured. 21-year-old Trayvon Montel Barton was killed.
An eruption of gun violence across the country this weekend, some with children caught in the crossfire. Second mass shooting there in just a week. 1 victim killed, 6 wounded, and 2 suspects dying. A 10-year-old little boy shot and killed inside his home by a bullet fired from outside. Hundreds of children victims of gun violence.
Another family devastated as the list grows of young lives cut short by a startling surge of gun violence. They opened fire into a home overnight, killing gun violence. Innocent children caught in gunfire. At least 307 children under the age of 11 have been injured by gun violence, 129
killed.
But for teens ages 12 to 17, the numbers are even more devastating. Nearly 1,300 injured and more than 500 losing their lives to gun violence. An NYPD officer rushing to help a 4-year-old girl hit by gunfire. 6-year-old was shot in the head, later dying at the hospital. 7-year-old niece was shot and killed in a Chicago McDonald's drive-thru.
Gun violence, gun violence, gun violence.
Violence.